I know my doctor was talking to me, but I also know that I really wasn't completely listening to everything that he had said to me because something tripped a memory as he was speaking to me, and so that memory took over. It was a memory of a riddle that I was told once, and the riddle was, what weighs more, a ton of gold or a ton of feathers? What weighs more, a ton of gold or a ton of feathers? And I remember when I was first asked that riddle, I said, well, of course a ton of gold weighs more than a ton of feathers. Boy, did I fall into that one or what? Because then it was explained to me, no, a ton of gold weighs the same. Did I get you on that one? Weighs the same as a ton of feathers. Because what the doctor was trying to explain to me was, yes, that's a picture of me when I was first ordained a priest in 1993. And a more recent picture of me. I mean, I fared okay over the years, don't you think? So I was feeling kind of all proud of myself when the doctor had explained to me that in the last 2 years, I had only put on 0.4 pounds. So I was being really proud of myself. I had only put on 0.4 pounds in the last 2 years. And then he was explaining to me how he was concerned because I had such a significant depreciation in muscle mass, and that was being replaced by fat mass. And you see, muscle weighs heavier than fat. And so even though I had only put on 0.4 pounds, in reality, I wasn't doing good, and I needed to start putting more effort into rebuilding my muscle mass. And so I was thinking to myself, what weighs more? 0.4 pounds of fat or 0.4 pounds of muscle? I wasn't getting it. So then he did that test where he pulls out, it's kind of like a sliding ruler kind of thing, and he grabbed the fat on my side and he measured it. Well, totally deflate me, why don't ya? And proved, yes, I need to start rebuilding my muscle mass. And he said to me, it doesn't take a lot. Just doing little things, like taking the stairs instead of an elevator. And I thought to myself, and how many elevators am I on in my life here in Bend, Oregon? The only elevator that I have the potential is at the doctor's office because his is on the second floor. But I do take the stairs for there. So, okay, all right. But he's just like, it's just those little things that you can do can rebuild your muscle mass. And so I was thinking to myself, okay, I can do this. Well, maybe not that. But the reality is, I do need to get into shape. I do need to get into shape, but what I need to build up is not just my physical muscles. I need to build up my spiritual muscles too. I need to get into spiritual shape. So I like how you can take the word shape and you can take it and utilize it to help us to get into shape for serving God. Using our spiritual gifts, our heart, our abilities, our personality, our experiences. You see, our spiritual gifts, we have, each and every one of us, been given God's spiritual gifts. Each and every one of us. And yet, some of us may have been given a bit more of the spiritual gifts than the others. And so you need to spend some time reflecting on how have you been gifted by God in a special way, in a unique way, in a generous way. For a good example is one of the spiritual gifts that I haven't been gifted in too much is wisdom. But it doesn't matter. I have a very good friend, Rod Weimer. He has like an overabundance of wisdom. And he shares it with me all the time. So I appreciate how he utilizes his giftedness in that area of wisdom to help me in my lack of wisdom. You see, each of us have spiritual gifts, but we may not have all the same amount of the spiritual gifts. But to make this work, we need to utilize our spiritual gifts. And then what about our heart? Do I need to get into better shape with getting in touch with my heart? How is my heart moving me? How is my heart calling me to recognize the neediness of others? Because the reality is if you look at your life, who are you in touch with on a daily basis? How does your heart move you? How can you serve them through the movement of your heart? And then abilities. Boy, I look out there and you guys have some amazing abilities that I so don't have. I mean, I look out there and I see people who can do things I couldn't even think of doing. I mean, what would we do if we didn't have mechanics in our church to help me with my car? Or to have framers who could create such a beautiful arch? Or if we had people who could oversee all of this stuff that was done to create this place? Different abilities that you've been given. Each and every one of you have been given. And then your personality. I know this is hard to believe, but my personality sometimes drives people crazy. And so if you expect me to go and evangelize the world all by myself, it isn't going to work. Some people just can't relate to me. But maybe they can relate to you. Maybe you have the exact personality that will speak to them in a way that they can hear and understand and take advantage of. Isn't it great that we have different personalities? Oh, I know it might drive us kind of crazy every once in a while, but it certainly keeps things exciting and it doesn't get boring. What's your personality? How is that a gift? And then you have experiences that only you alone have experiences. And how have those experienced helped you, gifted you, given you abilities, and maybe even sensitivities? Compassion. Have you noticed? You've heard me preach about my cancer experience. That has given me a level of compassion and understanding that I wouldn't have had without that experience and other experiences. What experiences have given you a sensitivity, an understanding, a heart, abilities, experiences? Each of us have been given a unique shape by God to serve Him. So how can you serve God? What do you need to do to get into better spiritual shape? Because the reality is so often people feel inadequate. Oh, not me. I don't have any big, major, earth-shattering gifts. Well, you know what? Doesn't need to be big. Didn't we hear it put so beautifully in today's Gospel of Mark, chapter 12, verse 42 to 43? A poor widow came and put into the offertory 2 small coins worth a few cents. Calling his disciples to himself, Jesus said to them, Amen, I say to you, this poor widow put in more than all the other contributors to the treasury. It wasn't a lot. But what I love is like St. Mother Teresa says, it isn't the big things, but it's the little things with great love that matter. The little things with great love. Don't ever sell yourself short. Does not matter that we may not be able to contribute a lot. Each of us has value and can make a difference in this world. Each of us has value and can make a difference in this world. That was so seen in this year's Dogs and Ditties. Every contribution made it such an incredible evening. I mean, I was fascinated when little Dixon was up there doing that line dance. How can you remember all those kind of moves and then put it to music and then actually, little contribution? No, it had great value and brought so much love. And then, of course, Libby looks really good as a hot dog. It suits her well. But what was fun is that song that Luke helped to lead was the favorite of the night. Kids were checking it out on their smartphones the whole evening. In fact, I couldn't get it out of my brain for the whole night. I, thank goodness, have forgotten what it is. Thank you for that forgetfulness. It does not matter that we may not be able to contribute a lot. Each of us have value and can make a difference in this world. Each of us have been shaped for serving God in our own unique way. Don't ever sell yourself short. You do have great value.